Miami's on fire. At least that's what they tell us. This is a town of hyperbole. What we do with this program, we cut through it all and we let you know, is this real or is this a little bit of hyperbole? That's what we do on this show. What are we talking about today? We are going to be talking about, we're halfway through the summer season. It goes from May through October. We're going to take a look at what's going on the residential real estate side as well as the off-it market side. Why? Because the World Cup was just here, everybody. Miami hosted 7 matches, 6-week period. We were led to believe coming into the World Cup that this was going to be a golden opportunity for those sellers who wanted to unload their properties and they were going to get top dollar. That's what we're discussing today. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investor Club. Joined here by my partner, my co-host. The gentleman is a commercial real estate agent. Focuses on office space, does some warehouses. Nobody else but Oscar Musabe. He's over at Lee and Associates. So if you're looking for office space, you're looking for commercial space, give Oscar a call. What's going on, Mr. Musabe?
Well, I heard you use the word hyperbole, which you may not even know what it means, but I'm going to assume it's actually correct because we are in a market that talks all about how Miami is the hottest place in the world. That's why we call it Miami's on fire, right? And what we talk about is history, real estate, financial markets, entertainment, culture. There are a lot of stars here, and all of that makes Miami a very special place. All these different communities, different groups of people from all over the world who have come here and call Miami home. It's part of the reason why we're here today talking about the office market, because Miami now has become the most expensive office market in the country. Can you imagine that, Peter?
I can't imagine it, and I can't believe it either.
Well, it's a very interesting situation because in real estate, as we know, and I remember when we were reporting, this is always what happened. There would be
back in the day
a prime mover, the first one to get into the market and establish the bar, right?
Yes.
And they would say, I'm selling this at this rate, and it broke all the records. And then everybody was like, oh man, I'm going to do that. I'm going to jump into that same pool because that guy's no smarter than me. If he could do it, then I can do it. So I'm going to put up a building. I'm going to charge more than that guy does because my amenities are going to be brand new. I'm going to have more parking. I'm going to have, a coffee bar, restaurants on the ground floor,
maybe a pool. You're forgetting the most important part.
Tell me.
Most important part is you got to hire a pretty person. If you do not have a pretty person with free food, free booze,
right,
and somebody to make you feel like as if you're smarter than you are, and I'm not looking at you. Yes. Without the pretty people, it doesn't work, Oscar. And that's why you're in commercial real estate, because you are so pretty.
I have a face for radio, as people say. So I agree with you. But I think the pretty people are more on the residential side. That's typical.
Thank you. I will accept that compliment. Thank you.
That's where you see all of these beautiful offices that are, like New York City luxury apartment. You walk in there, you get champagne, and then you have the parties with ice sculptures.
Yeah, but why are you referencing New York City? A report just came out that everybody in Miami is going gaga over, saying Miami's now more expensive than New York City. Anybody could have told you that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Why? Because we don't have any wages.
Well, see, I think
our salaries are so low, and if you look at the cost of living here, this has been the truth forever and ever and ever.
Right. I think the two variables now that are having an enormous impact on pricing.
Do not tell me Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, the Democratic Socialist. Do not even tell me about that. All right.
So
is that going to be one of your two?
This is what people talk about. This is what people talk about. All right.
People who know, or people who know? Okay.
Yes, people who know what the market is all about. Okay. So,
and I'm going to ask you rhetorically, what's your criteria to be able to figure out whether or not they actually know? That's rhetorical.
So what happens in real estate...
And hanging out at a bar at 2 a.m. talking about real estate does not constitute an authority.
Right. So when you talk to other real estate people, what happens is...
Sell-side people or buy-side?
It doesn't matter. What happens
it matters
is
a
that
lot.
People circulate stories about what's happening in the market and what's going to drive it, right? And part of the reason why they do that is because they're trying to establish a number for what they're going to lease space for, what they're going to sell space for, like what we were saying, right?
But there's fundamentals. You just look at the fundamentals and you know what it is.
But
what does it cost to replace it?
Yes.
What can I rent it for? These are fundamentals. Everything
100%.
is hyperbole.
I agree. But you have to shoot for the moon when you're trying to
Moonshot.
rent a space or lease a space. If you know what you're doing, you're going to set the right number. And if the listing agent, for example, in an office building, if their number is out of whack, you're going to tell them you're going to change the offer that you make based on a real world number.
That landlord who owns that office building or warehouse building,
right?
They also think that their one kid is the best on the squad for soccer.
They're the
smartest.
They think
their other kid.
That's right.
Is going to get a full ride scholarship for college. They think their significant other is great looking.
Yes.
They think the car they drive is the best.
Right.
How does it feel to crush people's dreams, Oscar? How does it feel?
Well, thankfully, I'm a professional, so I don't crush people's dreams. I try and explain the market to them and tell them they're overpriced. If they're overpriced, explain to them that we can negotiate a better deal for them if they're looking for a very specific space and a very specific place. And sometimes you achieve success, and sometimes someone in that equation is not dealing with reality. So you got to move on and find a better scenario. That's the reality of the market, is that every seller thinks that they're, like you said, they have the smartest kids, their building is perfect. They've set a number that is so outrageous in their mind, not based on numbers or data. It's based on a feeling, right? They have an attachment to the building. They feel like their location is perfect. 36th Street in Miami Springs is a perfect example of that.
We're talking about the northern boundary of Miami International Airport.
That's right. And the reason why it's such
just west of Lejeune.
That's right. It's a very interesting and popular place, or it was 20 years ago, for airline-related businesses and all kinds of companies that would serve the airline and help each other, right? B2B kind of situations. 36th Street right now is going through a change, and the change is going to be determined by voters in November. And what could happen is that they could create greater density on 36th Street. And as a result, all those owners who own buildings...
Don't tell me that Tom's NFL bar, and I think they had to take NFL out of it because of trademark issues.
Tom's.
That little bar that's been around forever and ever and ever, and it's got a hotel attached to it, where it's got great food.
Right.
It's got dartboards.
Yep.
You're able to get good value. Don't tell me that they're going to upzone, and Tom's might go the way of places like Tobacco Road, places like S&S Diner, places like the original Foxes.
No, in fact, I'm going to tell you the opposite.
Ooh, tell me.
Because what's happening is this. In a place like that, like in Edgewater for a long time, people overpriced their land, and their land just sat there forever, right? And they let the buildings go to seed, and then it took a generation for that to change. 36th Street is going through that process right now, where there are a lot of 2-story buildings, 3-story buildings that have maxed out their height, their density. And what the city is considering doing and opening it up to voters is deciding whether they can actually allow greater density. If they do that, then you'll see a transformation of 36th Street into more multifamily, probably. The other question is going to be whether they can actually move their buildings right up to the line where the sidewalk is, where currently there are limitations, right? And Miami 21 in the city of Miami has similar dynamics, where they were trying to design better neighborhoods and better layouts for buildings
because they needed to jack up the property tax base. City of Miami, for the longest time, it was the poorest big city in the United States.
Right.
It was a city that people would bypass, investors. They'd fly into Miami International Airport, they get in an Uber, they get in a taxi back in the day, and they go up to Aventura, they go to Miami Beach, they go to the Gables, they go wherever. And they were all bypassing Miami. And then Manny Diaz, former mayor, not to be confused with the former head coach of the University of Miami, which was the kid.
Yes.
He didn't do very well, by the way. Junior didn't do very well.
He did very well.
But he came out with the chain, though.
Yes.
What was it called? The turnover chain?
Turnover chain.
Yeah, that was the idea. So, that, he's got a legacy there. Yes. But City of Miami, they needed to bolster, they needed to jumpstart development.
Yeah.
So you're saying Miami 21 type of concept is also what they're looking at Miami Springs?
No, what I'm saying is that Miami 21 created design aesthetics and requirements that would allow for a change in how buildings were built and where they were built and how much density there was. But they did it within certain parameters that would allow the designs to be people oriented rather than just like 60, 70 story towers next to a house, for example. In the case of 36th Street and Miami Springs specifically, that's a neighborhood that is very hostile to high density projects. So 36th Street is not going to go that way. They're not going to see 60-story towers. But in November, if voters approve it, they may have more density. And the point that I was making is that right now, what owners of those buildings that are on 36th Street, you could drive up there every day, they look very bad because the owners are like, why am I going to put any money if in a few months I'm going to be able to sell this for double? Their pricing right now is outrageous, right? Because it's a trend.
Everything there is a teardown, with the exception of the Miami Association of Realtor headquarters that they just built. For what reason, I don't know, but they went ahead. I guess they had too much cash, so they decided they were going to build an office tower for the realtors.
So the pricing for the buildings is not reality, right? It's higher because the expectation is that there's going to be a change and the owners of those buildings want to price to the future like a pro forma, not where it is today, right? So when you talk to them, they're like, oh, no. I'm $2 million over. And you're explaining it to them. It doesn't always make sense. In the case of office, specifically in, for example, the Brickell area, there are some variables that are influencing pricing that are changing how people are thinking.
But you're bypassing the main point.
Which is?
The main point is around Jackson Hospital. We all go to the medical campus. You had the courthouse.
Yes.
And as a result, you had a lot of bail bondsmen there. Then we had redevelopment going on in Alapata area.
Yeah.
So if you're doing 36th Street, why don't you attract all the bail bondsmen who got pushed out of Alapata? Because you got TGK, Turner Guilford Night Center, right up the street. That whole thing could be the district for bail bondsmen.
That's an interesting idea. The thing is that
I'm sure the owners in Miami Springs would absolutely love.
So the bail bondsman neighborhood, that whole area.
By the way, is that politically correct when you say bail bondsman, or has it got to be bail bonds person? Or
I don't know. But the bottom line is those buildings generally are like single story, small, freestanding teardowns in that area. And I can't imagine that transition would be easy in a place like Miami Springs, like you said. But
I mean, you got the Seabold building on Flagler Street with jewelry. Why don't they create a bail bondsman building? So anybody using TGK, you simply go there.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can steal that idea. But there are some variables that are influencing office, and when we're done with office, we're going to talk about residential.
But we haven't even started the. You took us in a different direction.
No,
we're supposed to be talking about the summer halfway point. So why don't we talk about being out of control?
Okay, go ahead.
Let's start with the World Cup. World Cup was coming. Miami was going to dominate. We were going to donate all this money to pulling it off, even though we had a budget deficit last year.
Right.
Decision was made to really get behind the World Cup, and they did. Yeah. 7 matches, 6 weeks, played in Miami.
Yeah.
We had 450,000 attendees go through Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens. This is according to FIFA. Okay, all these people coming through. People on the residential real estate side, I don't know about the commercial, residential real estate side, they said because of this, the condo market, which was not doing very well, it was going to get a jump start. It was going to take Red Bull, maybe throw a little a little Johnny Walker in there to get everything revved up. And you know what happened, Oscar?
What happened?
Sales fell. Pending sales have fallen during this 6-week stretch.
Right.
So, Oscar, my question to you is, what happened on the commercial side with the World Cup? Was it simply a situation where it was effectively a distraction?
Yeah.
So many people who came here, they came to party. They came to go to ball and chain on Cayocho with all the Scots and the bagpipes and the kilts. Oscar, you ever wore a kilt?
I have a fitting next week for a kilt.
Okay.
Yes.
That's for your Dungeons and Dragons competition?
Right. That's right.
So the Scots, they march from Ball and Chain up to Lone Depot Park where the Miami Marlins play.
Yep.
So Oscar, residential, we were told by developers, we were told by listing agents, this was going to generate all kind of sales. On the condo side, we just ran the numbers. Pending sales are down. Prices are down.
Right.
It never happened on the residential side. What about on the commercial real estate side? Did you see any kind of change with the commercial space?
So,
whether it be office, warehouse, or anything else?
This is what I can tell you. In terms of rates are going up.
But what happened during
throughout
that
Miami-Dade County?
That 6 week window.
Not specifically that period. I'm talking about the first 2 quarters. The first 2 quarters of the year. It's a blended average, and in the case of Miami Beach, it's up 10%. Brickell office rates
because of the World Cup.
No. First 2
We're
months
talking about the World
are
Cup.
up by 8%. Coconut Grove is up by 15%. Countywide, it's 6%. Coral Gables is up 8%.
Because of the World Cup.
First 2 quarters of the year. And the reason
World Cup began the 11th of June.
The reason
went through
is
July 19th.
Yes.
I don't care about the first quarter.
Right.
I want to talk about the World Cup.
What I can tell you is this, is that people like Ken Griffin, Peter Thiel, who are populating Brickell,
your boys.
are driving rates up.
Oh, your boys.
I told them I was going to talk about them on the golf course, so I want to make sure
you
I
forgot
follow
Mark
through on
Zuckerberg.
Mark, another one of my buddies.
Alex Karp from Pelletier. Don't forget him.
Yeah.
Larry Page from Google.
They're all my friends.
All right.
So Peter Thiel just signed a record-breaking lease
at
Aventura. 830 Brickell. At 830 Brickell.
Oh, I thought he was in Aventura.
No,
when he got run out of Colorado.
This is for the
all
family
the
office. So Peter Thiel's family office, according to the Real Deal, secured a record lease at Miami's 830 Brickell Tower, paying $250 per square foot for nearly 18,200 square feet of space.
Do you believe it?
I do believe it. Now, here's where things get interesting. And I don't know how this is going to impact this deal specifically. But sometimes the public rate is not necessarily what they're actually paying. Because
it never is.
There's rent abatement, which means 3 months of rent. There's, the build out that's going to be built out, which is incorporated into the cost.
Plus, the landlord wants to be able to publicize the fact
that's right.
that somebody of that following is actually there.
Right.
They're not paying market rate. No way. No.
So
no
in
way.
the end, we don't know exactly what that price is based on this story, but we have a general idea. And what's happening, and this is what I was telling you at the beginning before I was interrupted.
You weren't interrupted.
Currently, it's 20 times.
You
20
took it
times
in a
I was
different
interrupted.
direction.
So what happened and has been happening in real estate for as long as real estate has been done is that people in the business, developers, property owners, agents, are telling each other stories, right? And they're telling the public story. And the story of Brickell is that there's a lot of negative vibe going on in Manhattan.
Why are you looking at me? Oh, you're talking about, and now we're going back to Mom Donnie. Here we go, Mom Donnie.
And that is driving people to Miami. What does that mean? So last year I had a client.
But people get old. When they get old, they retire to South Florida.
That's
They've
another
always
factor.
done it. They've always done it. The people who are coming, Peter Thiel exception.
Yeah.
Ken Griffin's old.
Yeah.
He's long in a tooth. He is really long in a tooth.
I'll let him know you said that.
Well, but I'm just saying.
Yes.
This is no different.
So
people
what
come
I'm
here, they buy a place.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
He's doing the testosterone or whatever. I don't know if he was in the military.
I don't know.
Maybe Pete
I
had
don't know
something to
anything
share
about that.
some of it with him. But all these people are getting older. They're trying to prolong their life. They come down here. It's been going on for 100 years.
Yeah.
Oscar, 1920s, Florida land boom. What did they do? Well, you had old man Merrick, George Merrick.
Yes.
He was peddling Coral Gables. You had
That's
Addison Meisner up in Boca Raton.
Yeah.
He was peddling Boca Raton.
Yes.
You had Carl Fisher, the guy who created the Indianapolis 500, the guy who made a bundle by selling headlights for cars.
Yes.
He was peddling Miami Beach, and you know how they did it?
How?
Hyperbole.
There we go.
They
That
hired
big word
journalists.
of yours
they
at the
hired
beginning.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, the woman who wrote River Regress. They hired her to write stories. They hired everybody because they wanted the hyperbole going.
That's right. This is the same point,
the
except I'm
shiny
saying it
object.
in normal
The shiny
people
object.
language.
So people would swallow the hook.
Right.
This has been going on for 100 years.
So we've been telling each other stories about what are going to be drivers that are going to make a lot of activity in the market that's going to shrink the availability of space. And one of those factors, supposedly, is this exodus from New York because of Mamdani to Miami, right? Another factor is that, like you were saying, people retire here. Griff and all these people who are coming down and planting their flag here are here for any number of reasons. And what does Griffin do when he gets here? He expands the portfolio. So he's buying not only the space to build a huge tower, more than 1 million square feet.
Right there at Coral Way on Brickell Drive. So if anybody goes from the Gables to Brickell, Just take Coral Way all the way up, right where it tees.
Yeah.
That's where he's got a site. And then he bought the condo across the
That's
street.
right.
And
That's right.
he's trying to buy the dirt where Old Man Jackson, the
There you
guy
go.
for which they named the hospital after,
Yep.
the first doctor in Miami, the one who worked for Florida East Coast under Henry Flagler.
Yeah.
Trying to buy the dirt there.
So
He's
what
gonna
does that tell you?
Get rid of the house.
I want to hear the bear side of this equation. If someone like that is doing that much investment in Miami, everybody else is going to follow because everyone sees that and it's like, you know, a North Star. They say, if he can do it, I can do it too.
Ken Griffin's record buying real estate is abysmal.
What does that mean?
Abysmal.
The guy's a billionaire.
Do you need me to spell that? Abysmal.
Yeah, two big words. We got hyperbole and abysmal. Did you get a dictionary for your birthday?
Listen,
Is that what happened?
Anybody can buy.
Yes.
It doesn't take intelligence to buy. It takes
Okay.
cash.
Okay.
He's overpaying for everything.
Yes.
He's coming in simply because he's got what, you know, back in, and I would say a different term.
Riz.
Yeah. He's got this cash,
Yes.
disposable income.
Right.
And he's just parking it. He's not paying attention to pricing.
Yes.
He's not paying attention to pricing.
Yeah.
He's buying stuff. And so far, the only deals that he sold, he lost.
I can tell you
He lost.
that whatever
He
deal
bought in the
he's
Faena
making.
house in Miami Beach. He was all in for somewhere in the ballpark of $50 million.
Okay.
When he let it go, he was upside down.
Okay. What I'm telling you
Only
is
thing he sold.
the pricing for that condominium, for the land that he's bought, for the this and that.
Primarily in Brickell Avenue, and then he's picked up some stuff in Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
And then he bought Terminal Island.
There you go.
Which is right where the Fisher Island ferry goes to.
Right. So all of that, whatever pricing
got
is
Star
being
Island too, I
identified
think.
publicly,
Yep.
there's probably some adjustment that's being made in the amount that's being paid and how it's being paid and everything else. So it may be he's paying less because of things like what we just talked about.
No, I mean,
Leases that they've signed.
He could be paying the
Yep.
price, but what does he put up? I've been hearing about his office tower. Oh my gosh, over and over. Who was president at the time when he first bought it? I think it was it Jimmy Carter? Was he president
Jimmy Carter.
when he first made his first?
No. But here is the type of story that real estate people, and you are a real estate
And it's
person,
called
even though you
FOMO,
pretend you're not.
Fear of missing out.
Exactly. It
People
drives
rush in.
real estate.
That's why you have the site that just traded immediately north of Ken Griffin's site over
Yes.
there on Brookbay Drive.
Yes.
$520 million.
Yeah.
The numbers pencil out. That's what we're told.
Right.
I don't know what denomination they're using.
Yeah,
Is it U.S.
Bitcoin.
dollars or is
That's
it like maybe Colombian pesos?
No, it's Bitcoin probably.
Yeah, well, if you look at Bitcoin prices lately.
It's true. So I think that this is, emblematic. If you,
there's a good word.
I looked through
Listen,
your
everybody,
dictionary
make
before.
sure you bring your thesaurus.
That's right.
When you watch our program,
We
or make
got
sure
a
you
lot
got
of
AI
words.
clues so you
We
can
got
get
a lot of words.
Yep.
So it's emblematic of this type of, shooting for the guy who's leading the market.
moonshot.
To follow on his coattails, as people used to say when we had coattails.
And the trees will grow to the moon.
Well,
The redwoods are not yet there,
We're
but they're
here to
getting
say-
close. Out in California, they are getting close.
as agents, both on the residential and the commercial side, in reality, what we're here to say is these are the numbers. You may want to do this and this. If you're on the buyer side, you're going to say that's not reality if it's not, if it's overpriced. And the property won't sell unless you have some kind of whale that comes in and, like you said, might be willing to pay more because they need to get things moving, right? They have a momentum
posterity.
issue.
No, it's called posterity.
That
They're
one
buying for posterity.
I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. They want something to put up on the mantle and
Okay.
say that ultimately they took it down.
All right.
They might have overpaid, but they want to take it down.
And what I will tell you is the level of professionalism and expertise that people like Griffin can pull into an
He
equation
doesn't have expertise in real
is
estate.
insane. It's off
He's
the
never
chart.
built
Well, they
anything.
should call me.
But he's never built anything.
Yeah.
And it's obvious in the prices that they're paying for this dirt.
Yeah.
His real estate people, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So let's talk a little about the residential market.
Well, first give us the takeaway in the office space market.
So
where are we as we sit here in the summer, keeping in mind
yes.
we're going into August. Once we go into August, a lot of people are going to go on vacation. Right. They're going to take their kids on vacation.
Right.
Come back. Kids go to school. Then we're going to get ramped up with hurricanes. Then we come into Labor Day, which typically was when we start to wake up again in September, first Monday in September.
Right.
And typically there's that growth or that acceleration by the time you get to November when we kick off the winter buying season in November. And it starts with the Miami International Book Fair over there at the Wolfson campus in downtown Miami. So Oscar, we're kind of in that stretch of dead air, if you will. So tell us where we are in the office space market, and please limit the hyperbole.
So what I'll say about the office market that is a green shoot is green shoot is the medical category.
Because of so many old people moving here.
Of old people and
like Ken Griffin, like Jeff Bezos.
Listen, there is a huge demand, Jackson being a great example. Jackson is expanding significantly, as is that whole medical district.
Yep,
right?
University
All
of
these
Miami.
people are going in there. South Miami, where community newspapers are located.
Yep. Headquarters. You guys have not been to the headquarters. Miami Community News. Get your behind here.
That's right.
Come ask for Grant. He's not doing anything. He'll give you a tour. You guys will be able to see this fantastic venue. And also, too, make sure you sign up for their stuff because they're always doing events.
Right.
Even if you're not interested in the speaker, just sign up. They're going to give you free booze. No, they're not going to give you booze. They're going to give you food.
Breakfast.
They'll give you coffee. They'll give you stuff like that. Make sure you sign up.
So, around community newspapers.
South Miami.
Right. Near the Sunset
When are they knocking down
shops.
the bakery center? When are they knocking down the shops at Sunset?
They're finalizing plans.
They've been finalizing plans.
Let me tell you,
I mean, what
that's
did they
the
announce
right way
first?
to approach it.
Yeah, but did Ken Griffin announce he was building his office tower decades ago, or did they announce that they were knocking down the shops at Sunset?
We deal with facts here.
Which one was announced first?
We deal with facts.
But the point is the fact that nothing's happening.
Project 10 years ago.
Nothing is happening.
He just assigned it relatively recently. But anyway, getting back to Earth, as we like to say, around South Miami, around the community news headquarters, there's been a massive expansion of all kinds of medical Baptist and Larkin and everybody else is all coming here. Why? Because like every other part of Miami-Dade, there's a huge demand for medical use. So that is a green shoot for us in this market. In fact, I have a building for sale at 951 Lejeune Road.
Which is what? Lejeune and what? What's 951?
And 9th Street.
9th Street.
Yeah.
That's in the city of Miami.
Yeah, yes. Well, it's technically it's Coral Gables.
The Gables.
It is the Gables. It's right on the edge of the Gables. And the great thing about it is that
it's right there by that liquor store behind Walgreens.
It's not. It's next to a McDonald's.
Okay. Right by Uncle Tom's Barbecue.
No, it's not really. I mean, you can get there pretty quick from there, but that's a great point because it's part of Coral Gables. It's within 2 minutes of Miracle Mile. It's right on Lejeune, so you get a lot of traffic. That building is a medical building, and it's got a medical user in it right now. We have available space. We put it up last week.
For sale
and for lease, and we're getting call after call. I have tours tomorrow. I have tours next week. Why is that? Because when medical space becomes available, people jump in there. They're either going to operate facilities, right? And sometimes what happens is a doctor will own the business, and then they'll open like 3 and 4 locations or similar uses in the same building. So
kind of like a co-working space?
No,
like a Regis or something?
So different specializations in the same building. We're working actually with Unicapital also on Lejeune Road to put a fertility clinic client into one of their buildings at 850. So
850 Lejeune.
Yeah, and the reason why
right by the liquor store.
Peter loves to throw something like that in there. So the bottom line is that demand for medical uses are expanding and very, very intense. So that type of use is going to drive and continue to drive a lot of activity.
Yeah, but let me ask you about the push-pull, because if when you get into medical office space, and I don't know anything about office space, but typically you need a lot more water. You need the water pipes and things like that. It's not just like a regular office building.
So it depends on what the demand is for the customer, the patient of the doctor, because not every room necessarily has to have water in it. Medical spaces sometimes only have one water source, or maybe a bathroom and a sink, like in a kitchen, for example. Exam rooms don't always have to have water in them. And if you think about your own doctor's office, that's pretty much the case in many cases. So it really depends on what the demand is, what the requirement is for that space, for the patients, for the level of whatever it is that they're going to need to do if they need to do minor procedures in the space, etc. So that's a green shoot area. That's going to continue to drive activity, which means pricing is going to go
Yeah,
up.
but is medical office space, is that a green shoot or is that just like a vine? It's just growing and growing and growing.
No.
It's probably not going to slow down.
I think it's a green shoot because there are areas that are new or relatively new that maybe they've been around a long time, but now, like a trend, a lot of people are trying to get into it.
Fair enough.
So fertility clinic is one of the big things. In fact, I remember before the election, the presidential election, that it became a big topic in the campaign, IVF and all these different things that were encouraging growing families, right? So that's an area where there's a lot of interest and opportunity, and I think that's going to continue to grow overall. Medical is going to continue to grow. And in fact, Miami is a kind of tourist location for people who are coming from other countries and want to get their health care here. So
well, it's got to be helpful now that they shut down Alligator Alcatraz.
Yes.
If you're coming from abroad for medical tourism.
Yeah. So I think the thing that I'm not sure how that makes any sense, but anyway.
Well, because if you're flying in and you got a problem, you could end up 50 miles due west at Brickell City Center.
That's a good question.
And what was a pop-up detention center?
Right.
But
That's
now
a good question.
maybe the coast is clear. Although
No.
temporary
The coast is not
protective
clear.
status that we discussed 2 previous weeks.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
The bottom line is that office is contracting in some ways and growing in others, right?
Okay,
so
so
our market, I think, is stronger than many other markets. That's partly because markets like Manhattan, Chicago, Los
Donnie,
Angeles,
I know,
have been around for a long time,
Yep.
and they built really big buildings, tall buildings, full of office. And when COVID came and office sizes started contracting, those buildings developed huge vacancies, which drove pricing down. And now in Miami, we're building new office buildings. We have bigger drivers.
But I think the question everybody has is, are people going back to the office?
They are going back to the office.
So we're reverting back to what we were prior to the pandemic.
Not at the same level. There's
How many days a week are they going to the office? 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
No, it really
3
depends
days?
on the use and what the type of
so it was simply a hiccup.
vision that the entrepreneur has for their business if it's a small business.
But it was a hiccup, though. The pandemic was a hiccup because, remember, we all thought we were going to work from home. That's why people flooded into South Florida. Governor DeSantis said,
that's right.
You could come here, you didn't have to wear a mask, even though blue states had mandates. Company said you could work from home, and Miami Beach permitted you to twerk on a police car.
Right.
So everybody came into town.
So this is what I'll say.
So what you're saying is now that entire notion, that utopia,
right.
it's now out the window, and now office space is back in demand.
It's in demand, but it's not at the same level as pre-COVID. I don't think we're ever going to get back there again, unless we in Miami attract a lot more businesses, right? Because we are the entrepreneurial capital of the United States, and there's a lot of small business. What does that mean? Instead of having a big corporation like 36th Street being a great example, the aviation industry used to have tons and tons of businesses
Going back
with
to
tons
Pan Am.
and tons of employees.
Going back to Pan Am. They used to fly out of Dinner Key. That became City Hall. Now City Hall's moving to Melrose Park.
That's right.
They're going to do something with the dirt, but it all goes back to Pan Am, 1920s.
So 36th Street is a great example of how Miami has changed, where you used to have a lot of businesses employing a lot of people.
You also had a Gale Street Inn over there.
And because of things like COVID, everything changed.
Yeah.
And even though there's still a lot of demand for office in Miami, it's not the same as it used to be. You don't have as many employees. Maybe you'll have like shared desks, shared workspaces were a big trend starting about 10 years ago, where you would have, very large spaces where you could bring your laptop and work. And they still have that. Lifetime is a big purveyor of that, and they've been very successful. But you don't see 20 Lifetimes. You see Lifetime, which is plotting out their position and pivoting to different types of buildings so that they can still continue to grow and operate. In Miami-Dade, the office market is diverse in terms of who are the users and how many days they're spending in the office. I mean, our tourism lifestyle is what attracts a lot of people here, celebrities, etc. And that lifestyle means that they can actually have their office anywhere, on the beach, in a hotel, at their favorite restaurant, and they could be doing business while in places like New York, LA. The idea in all the movies that we've seen forever is that offices are packed, elbow to elbow with desks, with people, everyone's talking in the cafeteria and all this. And it's changed because of COVID.
Cafeteria.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
When's the last time you were in a cafeteria? The last cafeteria I remember was in Coral Gables,
right
on Miracle Mile, right across from the bookstore. It was called Biscayne Cafeteria, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right over there next to the Colonnade and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've been in a cafeteria forever and ever.
Well, I think at the end of the day, what's great...
And is it cafeteria or cafeteria?
Well, for Miami, it's cafeteria.
Okay, just making sure.
But you get different kind of food in the two types. Yeah, I mean, that's another example of how real estate has changed in Miami, and it's going to continue to do that. I think also there's an interesting trend in the restaurant sector, right?
What do you mean, closing?
Well, restaurant category. There was just a story I saw.
I thought every restaurant is closing.
No. About 2 restaurants that are closing in Wynwood, and they have top ratings, and they're still closing. And the reality, and I think...
I wonder why they're closing.
Why? Why do you think they're closing?
You know what kind of markup they have on these?
Yeah, they have
these restaurants
markup.
are insane.
But that's another example of how people follow trends in real estate, right? So if that guy can do it, I'm going to do it too.
Like the World Cup.
Let's get back to the World Cup because
but I'm saying it's like the World Cup. There's all this hyperbole.
Here we go, hyperbole.
All this hyperbole, and then when it all plays out, it's not there.
That's it.
It is not there.
So, do you think, since I get to ask some questions too, do you think that
I much prefer to be outside taking the sucker punch shot rather than having the incoming. All right, go ahead.
Do you think that we're going to have a strong winter season, which is, our strongest part of the year, a strong winter season this year for condo purchase and sale activity?
All right, so first of all, what's going on is we are at the lowest level of condo listings, Tri-County wide, since at least January 1st of 2025.
Okay.
And what's happening is the market's getting bifurcated. You have the people who overpaid.
Yes.
They came in 2021, 2022, 2023 because they could work from home. They didn't have to wear a mask and they could twerk on a police car in Miami Beach.
Right.
They overpaid. They outbid others.
Yes.
Now they're trying to sell their condos. And you know what's happening? They're getting lowball offers and they're saying, you know what? Forget it. Let's wait till the winter. Let's wait for the World Cup when all these people are going to flood into town and we're the FOMO place because all your brethren, you're Ken Griffin, you're Mark Zuckerberg, you're Larry Page, you're Alex Karp, all your celebrity types.
Yes.
They thought they were going to be able to sell, and they haven't been able to. So listings are falling. We're down to about 23,500 listings.
Okay.
It was about 27,000.
Wow.
It is just, it's falling dramatically. Now, the only people who are on the market today, those are the ones who have to get out. Those are the ones who are just
the investors
suffering under the rising cost of maintenance fees, the hefty special assessments, the insurance premiums. While insurance has come down, it's nowhere near what it was prior to Surfside, which 5 years ago, June 24th, 2021, it went down. Everything changed. Condo market changed in Florida, and especially South Florida since then. So you got 2 markets, and as it's playing out, sellers, especially if they got called back to New York or they got called back to Silicon Valley to work on AI, their rent is nowhere near. And then to top it off, Oscar, because there's so much product available, we're at a 5-year low for rents. First half of 2022. Median rent in South Florida, $2,750 a month, $2,750. You know what it is this year?
What is it?
$2,200.
Wow, well, that's a big drop.
And valuations are based on what kind of rent can I get? Because if I buy the place, I got to rent it out. So the rents are falling, and as the rents are falling, I mean, prior to the pandemic, you know what a rent was in South Florida? It was between $1,500 and $2,000.
Incredible.
Are we going to go back there? And if we are, that means condo prices have to come down.
So here's another story that we tell ourselves about.
But I'm saying, this is
it
plays
the reality. Into what you're saying.
But these sellers, they missed their window.
Yeah.
They thought the World Cup was going to be good, and the World Cup led to decrease in pending sales average price, as well as a decrease in number of pending sales. They missed their window. August, people go on vacation. Beginning of August, they're Fannie Mae's eliminating the limit review for a mortgage application, which means it's going to be harder.
It's going to be harder.
It's going to take longer.
And you said interest rates are where?
Interest rates today, if you look at the 10-year Treasury, which is what everything's based on. So if anybody has a car loan, they have a credit card loan, they got a mortgage, whatever, coming in at effectively 4.7%.
Right.
For a mortgage, you add 3 points on top of that.
Incredible.
You're looking at a mortgage of 7, north of 7.
Yeah, that's high.
So, and when interest rates go up, housing goes down.
Right. So here's my question about...
But what I was saying is, now we're getting into Labor Day, when it's supposed to ramp up. Problem is, we got an election coming up in November.
That's right.
Midterms. People don't like to buy real estate right before a presidential election. Well, this midterm election, are people really going to buy? Because Washington could go in two different directions. So if you're a seller, your costs are going up.
Yeah.
You got no way to get out. The World Cup and Mr. Messi and Mbappe and everybody else, they've all basically, they're gone.
They're gone.
Why are people going to come here to buy a condo when the mortgage rates are too high? When you got to deal with the special assessments, you got to deal with all the work.
Right.
They're not buying condos, and these sellers, they followed the shiny object.
Right.
They didn't take the haircut.
That they needed.
By the way, your haircut looks good. They didn't take the haircut when they should have.
It's called nature.
But now they're stuck till Thanksgiving.
Right.
That's their next best shot.
Best case, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the stories that we tell ourselves that gives us hope for the future in this market is that so many people are coming here, but the data shows that people are leaving at the same time. Safeway. So you think all these people are moving to Florida. Yeah, there are big numbers of people that are moving to Florida, but there are big numbers of people that are leaving too, specifically from Miami-Dade. And the reason is because it's too expensive, right?
Who wants to spend $25 on a drink?
Right.
Plus tax tip. Who wants to spend $35 on a burger?
That's right.
With fries, tax and tip.
Right.
Nobody wants to do it.
And that gets back to why these two restaurants in Wynwood are a bellwether. It's been going on for some time, right? But I think it is going to continue to go in this direction because for as long as we've been in this boom in Miami where pricing for housing continues to go up, you're seeing people open restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. I read those stories every week, and it's 2 and 3 restaurants, fancy restaurants.
It's funny. The restaurant stories I read are the ones that are getting hit with the violations.
Yeah.
The Help Me Howard or the
That's
kitchen.
That's where Peter gets his best discounts, man. He's like, listen, I just saw you on Help Me Howard, and you're going to charge me this much for this? What are you, out of your mind?
Yeah, but let me give you the good news. You are always so negative. Let me give you good news.
I'm negative.
You are always so negative. I'm going to give you some good news.
I want to hear this.
All right. And this is a message for millennial.
This is the closer
This is a message to Gen Z, even Gen Alpha, which I think is the next one.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with personality type. I think
it's
just
alphabetical.
It's alphabetical. Your opportunity to buy is here. It's arrived. It's
today
happening.
Or wait until
right now. Today it's here.
Right
now, there's some risk associated with it, but if you are in the market, go out there and start kicking the tires. My recommendation is low ball. You want to know what the real price is? Go back and look up the property. 2019.
Yeah.
Before this period of time when people could work from home, you didn't have to wear a mask and you could twerk on a police car. Go back and look at those prices.
Yeah.
Police car in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Go back and look at those prices and start lowballing. Deals are trading.
Yeah.
Sellers who are still on the market, they are willing to accept a lower offer because they can't afford to go forward. Then you ask yourself, well, why would I do it today? Because the seller who's probably got some built-up equity, thanks to all the hyperbole, they're going to take a haircut.
Yeah.
They need to exit. So this is your opportunity. I did a panel with Mayor Levine Cava a couple years back, September of 24, and she was talking about building all this affordable housing. And I kind of annoyed her. I tend to annoy some people.
You were annoying? I find that hard to believe.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
And my point at the time was the market takes care of itself. And the market's taking care of itself, everybody. Lowest rents, 5 years. When rents come down, valuations have to come down because people buy property based on what can they generate.
Yeah.
So your windows here, how long is it going to last? Well, it depends on how nasty this entire cleanup is from the Surfside condo collapse because of all the new legislation that's put in place.
Sure.
But if you are going into the marketplace, understand, just like you used to call it a used car, Oscar, when you were young. They've always called it a certified pre-owned.
There you go.
Which means somebody Somebody's looked at it. They give you
Yeah,
a
yeah.
guarantee. They give you a warranty. They fix
Sure.
everything up. That's what's going on with these condos, everybody. The state is requiring an inspection done by licensed architect, licensed engineer. It's signed off. A dollar amount associated with what it's going to cost to fix it. The condo board now has to fund it.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity for many buyers. And I'm not trying to blow smoke to you people in the market. I'm trying to tell them, listen, everything is going in your direction. Now, if you're on the sell side,
Right.
if you were on the sell side,
Yeah. You got to accept the haircut.
well, you're probably going to end up doing like Ken Griffin's done on the only property he sold, which is take a haircut.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of
Leverage.
tailwinds.
Yeah.
You don't have the wind at your back. You're just going right into headwinds. So
It's a buyer market.
Oh, this is a buyer's market, and it's going to become more and more severe. And let me give you a tip, everybody.
Here we go.
If you see developers making themselves available
Uh-oh.
on podcasts,
Yes.
if you see them suddenly on television,
Yes.
they're trying to change.
What's television?
They're trying to change the theme. They're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to provide some confidence.
That's right.
They sure as heck don't want to go and do an interview with somebody like Oscar.
No, definitely not.
When
Well, I
if
don't
sa-
really
if sales
do
were, if sales were
interviews that
good,
much.
if
Yeah.
sales were good, they wouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
If sales were good, you would have a fall in pending sales,
Yeah.
as well as average pricing per square foot for a pending sale
Right.
during the World Cup.
Yeah.
If sales were good.
So you know this because you have your own company that tracks all this. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
right?
We're-
What's it
we're-
called?
We go under Miami Condo Investing Club.
Look at that.
And what we do is we provide data, straightforward data. It's not Chamber of Commerce talk,
Right.
which you probably gathered. I'm not authorized by the real estate industry. In fact,
That's
they
right.
probably despise me
Yeah.
for kind of putting it
They
out
tell
there.
me all the time they don't like it.
Well, that's the way
fine.
it is. But that's what makes a market. You
Yeah.
need two sides.
Two
You need
sides,
So,
for sure.
Oscar, help me square this.
Yeah.
And for the audience. So the office market's doing well. The residential market is unraveling, just like we've been telling people it was going to. What do you think is going on here? Is this a
correction?
Well, I'm just wondering, how can one market do well and the other one starting to really unwind? Are people coming here looking for cheap real estate, residential, and as a result, they're saying, you know what, let me set up shop and go ahead and lease office space,
So,
or walk me through it.
There's a few things that are interesting about this market is that, for example, the Peter Thiel deal at
Here we
830
go.
Brickell
Now we're talking about Peter Thiel
was his
again.
family office.
You love
was his family office.
You love
and
to
the thing
name
is
drop.
that there
All
are
right, go
a lot of people from outside the U.S. that are opening family offices here. People from Mexico, people from Argentina. They bring their family office here and they build or they invest and you can figure this out because in some of the stories that you read in real estate publications, and you look at the board of a company that's building something, you start looking at the names and you quickly realize, reading their background, that they're from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of activity where Miami has always been a place where people take their money to keep it safe because their own country is unstable, right? Right now, a lot of countries are getting hit again with tariffs. Right, we thought we were past that already.
Yeah,
Guess
President
what? It's
Trump's
starting
rolling
all
out a
over
whole new
again.
round of tariffs
Yeah.
after the Supreme Court decision.
That's right. So the country, Brazil just got hit, Canada, and Brazil has been a great partner for us all these years in real estate. They come here and they put their money and they open offices.
You remember the 90s? They used to have Victors. You'd go in downtown Miami before you had the big box retailers pop up.
Right.
You'd have all the green awnings with the yellow
Yeah,
letters.
I remember.
Victors. They were selling everything.
Everything.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Brazilians have been steadfast
Incredible
there.
partners.
Yep.
So I think that there are, like I said, variables in our market that are to a great extent unique from the rest of the country. And as a result, our office market is attracting a lot of people. Another factor.
Is it possible? Is it possible that maybe some of these people coming here and setting up shop, they're taking advantage of the cheap rents? Oscar, these are the lowest rents
You're talking about
in 5
apartment
years.
rents.
Yeah.
Apartment rents.
So
yeah.
maybe you can come here, you're going to set up shop. Instead of buying a condo,
Right.
you let it unravel even more. You rent a condo because it's dirt
Well,
cheap.
here's the other thing.
$2,200 a month.
Yeah.
Oscar, 5 years ago,
Right.
$2,750 a month, median basis.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big savings.
So businesses from other places like Texas, like, New York, Ohio.
you love that New
all
York
that.
over and over and over.
They'll buy a house here, right? Maybe it's their second house. Maybe it's not their primary. and they'll open up an office here because they want to be able to have operations here. I'm dealing with a media company right now out of New York that is opening an expansion. And they moved here.
I don't know if OnlyFans constitutes a media company.
It's a sports company.
Sports company.
And the guy who runs it is a young guy. He opened, or rather, he bought a house down here, right? He's relocating. He just had a baby, right? So all of these factors are influencing where he decides to live. And he's opening an office here. And it may be the headquarters office in the end, and New York will change. So there's a lot of that type of expansion.
Is that because of the Beacon Council, the Economic Development Authority of Miami-Dade County?
What I can tell
I haven't heard anything about them. They're supposed to be out there handing out cash
remember in those
to bring
days?
companies, but they're supposed to bring. They do the economic development.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything about the Beacon Council.
When we were reporting back in the day when we had more hair, I can tell you that those were the days when you would hear names like the Beacon Council everywhere, the Chamber everywhere, right? And I can tell you that one of the things that I've recommended for cities is that they create their own specific programs and welcoming committees to have for businesses that are opening for the first time,
which I think is what
and accelerate the permit process. You know which city is doing fantastic with that is Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens
is doing fantastic. And what's interesting about Miami Gardens, I know this because I had an indoor soccer client.
You know there because you go to Sonic on 199th and 27th Avenue. Come on.
I don't.
You told me you go to Sonic all the time. You like to pull up. You get to talk into the little speaker. They bring it out.
Sonic.
Come on. Give them the truth.
What I'm saying is I had an indoor soccer client that was looking for space, and we found a great space in Miami Gardens within 24 hours.
Indoor soccer client. That means, obviously, they have to have the hydration break.
Yeah.
Like they introduced for the FIFA World Cup, which is definitely a sticking point.
Hydration.
They have dome stadiums.
Yes.
They were doing hydration breaks so they could get advertising in, and they were breaking up a soccer match into 4 quarters.
That's right.
Based on hydration. So your client makes sure they get hydration breaks in on their new venue.
And that I get a cut of the hydration break advertising.
You can do some advertising there. Just no streaking.
The point, before you interrupted me another 20 times, is that City of Miami Gardens, 24 hours, you get a response from the zoning office as to whether that use is going to be allowed in that particular building.
Anybody can get a response, but do you get an approval?
Well, the approval takes a little more time.
Thumbs down,
but at least you have an idea whether you should sign a lease or not, which is a huge deal because the alternative is you sign a lease, 6 months later, the city tells you no, that use is not allowed, and you're done. You've spent all that money. You sign a lease that commits you to the entire term, right? So if it's 2 years, 3 years, unless there's an exit clause, which if you're representing a tenant, you're going to want to try and incorporate into your lease, but not every landlord is going to allow that. So Miami Gardens, very efficient. They will walk you through that process. I found it extremely helpful. And I've dealt with other cities that have challenges. City of Miami Springs. So a lot of things have changed. A lot are still the same.
A lot of things changed. A lot of things are still the same.
Yeah.
So, Oscar, as we wind down our podcast, we always like to talk about, we like to gauge the heat level of a particular subject.
Sure.
We like to associate it with a local cuisine.
Yes.
Whether it would be like something which would be like cold,
yes,
be like a bagel and schmear. Or if it was like really hot, it could be like a Nicaraguan fritanga.
Yes.
Tell us from your perspective as we sit here halfway through the summer, as we're rolling into the heat, the humidity, the hurricane warnings. Tell us about the office market, the way you see it. What level of heat? Because Miami is on fire.
The two markets that are still the strongest in Miami are Brickell and Coconut Grove.
Brickell and Coconut Grove.
Because of the intense demand that there is.
Give us the heat level.
Investment.
We got to have the heat level.
And Coconut Grove because there isn't a whole lot of product. So the product that is available is being improved. There's new product, and it's driving prices to incredible levels, record levels. I would say fritanga for sure.
Fritanga on the medical or on the office?
On the overall office in markets like Brickell, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, and in the medical space, it's fritanga times 2. It's fantastic.
So somebody's got that oil just like sizzling. You throw whatever it is you're going to deep fry. And I've been to some fritanga
you can
places.
hear it from the street.
You go to some of these fritanga places, you give them anything, they will deep fry it.
Yeah.
So you're saying that's what's going on. We're talking like Yambo style over on 17th.
That's it.
And Southeast 2nd, Southwest 2nd.
Yes, it's hot. It's doing great. And, I'm very fortunate to be in this market. And if you need help, reach me at 786-348-9257. I can help you find new space, sell your building, whatever you need, I can help you with. And Peter, how would you rate the residential, specifically the condo market right now?
Well, the way I'm going to rate the condo market, I'm going to break it into two.
Right.
I'm going to have the buy side, which people looking for a deal, and I'm going to have the sell side, people trying to unload.
All right.
I would tell you from a sell side perspective, anybody's got a listing of a condo, you're probably at a level of a sashimi.
Okay.
Meaning, there's nothing trading. It is so cold. The fish is on ice. Nothing is happening unless you cut the price.
Yeah.
Now, if you're on the buy side, I think you're probably going to come into maybe like a good roti from a place I love up in Lauderhill called Joy's.
Yes.
A good conch roti, with the curry, where it's a little bit hot. It's not going to burn your tongue, but at the same point, it's not cold. So I think the buyers have the opportunities. I think the sellers are in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Because ultimately, it's going to come down to pricing because condos are commodities. They are no different than oil. They're no different than salty snacks. They're no different than pork bellies.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you've been eating a lot of. You need to cut down on it for the summer.
It's
I'm
true.
worried about your cholesterol.
I'm going to have to get another trainer. I have like 5 already. So I'm going to have to get a new one.
So that's what I would say. Sell side, this is sashimi.
Right.
This thing is cold as it comes. And on the buy side, it's probably a good roti. Probably be somewhere right in the middle from a place called Joy's. If you guys don't know Joy's, you got to go up to Sunrise and 441.
Yes. It's the cricket capital of Miami.
Right by the cricket capital. Yep. Yep. That's kind of where we're coming in right now. But I think as we get into this, we get deeper into the summer, you're probably going to see some discounting. So I could see the buy side increase, but there's nothing to save the sell side at this point, especially with mortgage rates being north of 7% if you base it on what the 10-year treasury is and you add 3 points for a mortgage rate.
Wow. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. If you're a buyer, it's fantastic. And if you're a seller, but we're talking about investors, right? We're really, in terms of the seller side, the ones that are getting the haircut, it's investors.
Well, think of it this way. If your rent is $2,200 a month on a median basis in South Florida today, that means a condo's worth $220,000. Miami-Dade County, you're looking at a condo, you're pushing $1 million. That's how out of whack this stuff is. Mm-hmm. It's so far out of whack.
Right.
But then you get other deals where condos are going for $100,000, less than $100,000 a door.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, I'm glad that we got through this today. Another great show. Very exciting to be here at Community News Headquarters in South Miami. Please come down. They have studios for podcasts till the end of time. Great innovator, family run, family owned.
And make sure you rush down now because the coffee, the Keurig machine, they got the Cafe Bustelo. Somebody sprung for it, so make sure you come down. Normally it's like a different coffee. This one, you want to run here just for the coffees.
That's right. So thank you for joining us today. And I'm glad that we're getting a chance to talk to and talk with each other, with the market, continue calling us and sending us emails and telling us how bad we are at this job. And understand that we are Miamians first and foremost. We love Miami. We love all the communities that are here. We love the fact that we have so much diversity. Haitians, Cubans, Venezuelans, Argentinians, everyone's here.
Don't forget the Trinidadians.
And they want to make this community better, right? And we do too. We think real estate is where it's at. So join us next week. We're going to have another great guest, and we're going to really have a good time. More stories to tell. Next time we will have some sweet discounts to bring to you like we've been doing before. We've sort of fallen off the...
I haven't. You just talk too much.
So I want to thank my co-host here, Peter Zalewski, and Community News, and Zoni, our great producer. See you next week.